Well, whether you're a science geek, a foodie, or you just love a good story, this is the place to be. I'm here with George Linsenbigler, and George is the co-owner of Third Kingdom Mushrooms, right?
That's correct.
George, I have to say this, I have to do the pun thing. George is a real fun guy, right? I had to do it. I know, I'm sorry.
Mushrooms are pretty interesting. They are our primary decomposer in the world. We start all of our cultures and everything from the reproductive cycle. So we start with spores, and from those spores, we grow out on petri dishes the mycelium, which is the body of these mushrooms. This is a two-dimensional space, so it's not as easy to use as some other mediums we could possibly use. So from that, we generally create a three-dimensional space.
So George, what type of mushroom is this?
This one is actually a spore print from a chestnut mushroom. So this one would grow on a tree in our area, is a delicious edible mushroom. And then from that, we'll grow using a seed or rye. We will sterilize that inside a bag with a filter patch so that nothing else can get inside of it. And then we inoculate this mycelium into here, and it'll grow and colonize, growing into each individual grain of this rye. When it's finally colonized, it'll look like this. And then that's basically gonna be our seed. Break it up, and there's all that rye.
That is fascinating.
And that we inoculate into a bag of sawdust. Sawdust that has been nutrified with different types of nitrogens and compounds that the mushrooms need to feed on. Every single stage is climate controlled, temperature controlled, as if it would be in its own cycle in the ecosphere. If you're running spring mushrooms, that's the temperatures that we run those specific strains and species at. So after several weeks and sometimes months after the cultivation process has matured and come to readiness, this is the environment that we put them in so that they can produce their mushrooms.
Okay, so this is like the farm.
It is. This is the fruit chamber.
Okay.
And it is kept under very intense CO2, air, and water regimen, including light as well, in order to stimulate the growth of the mushrooms.
Look at this.
So we will simulate nature as if it was a tree. It's an artificial log. We would make sure that we gave the log a space to fruit. And almost as if the log had fallen and the bark opened up, in which case then the mushrooms will grow out of those spots that we create under the right conditions. So this is pushing 60 days.
Wow.
This is pushing 14 days. These are somewhere in the 21 days of being at the ready stage. So this is interesting. This is what they start out with. And this looks like a black pearl king. So this will eventually turn into that. It's a little bit behind. These are what are called pins or primordia, and they turn into the mushrooms.
Oh my gosh,
so
they look completely different.
They do, and they go through these stages, and they're actually bursting the bag open. We cut it up a little bit, and then as they grow, they'll actually tear their way out.
It's so funny because you kind of think of it like this as a greenhouse, but it's not a greenhouse at all.
It is not. It's more like a wet house. You know, it has to be at 90% relative humidity most of the time.
Wow.
And it is being extracted CO2 out of this tent 24/7. There's an extractor fan taking the carbon dioxide that the mushrooms are creating out, and fresh air is being pumped into it that's been sterilized. The better air you have, the better the mushrooms.
George, growing mushrooms is truly a science, and you have the background for that.
Yeah, I actually studied at Keystone College. I went for wildlife biology, but mycology truly was something that was different and out of this world compared to what we usually think of in science.
Thus your name, right? The Third Kingdom. Explain that to us.
It is. So there are several kingdoms. You got animals, plants, fungus, fungi.
Right.
Then you got other ones after that. That's kind of where we fell on. We are the Third Kingdom mushrooms.
So you have the science, and of course your wife Jen, she's the one who's like the person that does the other part of the business. And
Yes.
right? She's
Yes.
going to do the marketing, and she tells, you know, all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
and she makes them taste well.
Yes, yes. And so right now we're actually going to head up and talk to Jen, right?
Yes.
All right, sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, George.
Thank you
This
so
has
much,
been
Jackie.
a blast.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. here with Jennifer, and Jennifer is the other half of the Third Kingdom Mushroom team. And Jennifer, you're going to give us some ideas on what to do with the mushrooms, give us some inspiration.
Absolutely.
Because like mushrooms are so good, but sometimes you run out of ideas.
Yes. So these two that we have right here are our Black Pearl King and our Queen Pearl oysters. The Black Pearl King is a little bit more distinct because it has an actual stem, and they can actually be used completely right down to the stem. A lot of people actually will even take like the base and use that to make a soup stock. We like to take them and just kind of pull them apart, put some on a pan and roast them and put a little seasoning on. You can have them over steaks. We have them like potato chips. Something really fun, if you really want to experiment, you can even make mushroom jerky with them.
Ooh.
Which is really cool. They are a very versatile mushroom. They're both in the oyster family. These are two of our winter strains. We do have other oyster mushrooms that we carry throughout the summer as well, so we like to change it up a little bit.
Excellent. Now how about this guy over here?
This guy's really fun. This is our lion's mane mushroom, which you can see is kind of like a white pom-pom.
Yeah.
And they shred very easily. And a lot of people like to use these for seafood dishes. You can actually make them into like a vegan crab cake. There are tons of recipes online. You can use just your standard crab cake recipe and just substitute that for your crab. They also make great tacos, pulled pork.
Wow.
You can really substitute them in a lot of different dishes. I like to encourage people to just be creative. Try different things with the mushrooms, that you don't have to be afraid to experiment. And you might be really surprised at what you get, which is very cool.
Fun. And this guy over here, what's this one?
This is our chestnut mushroom. So these are
That's beautiful.
a little bit more woody, and they have a full stem and cap, but you can kind of see they crunch
Oh, wow.
when you split them. These hold up their texture and their consistency kind of like celery does. So they're very nice in soups. They go great with steaks. Any kind of soup, like we would make a chicken soup or like a beef stew, we will actually saute these in a pan with a little salt and butter and then put them in with our soup mix as well, which is very cool.
All right, so what's that? That looks very interesting.
Yes, these are cordyceps mushrooms. These are a dried variety that we actually use more for medicinal purposes. You can use these in teas. Our friend Gene at Peculiar Kitchen, he actually sauteed them in a dish with rice, kind of like you would your bean sprouts. So you can add them to dishes as well, but they're more for their health benefits.
So what would the health benefits be? What are they noted for?
They are known for helping with oxygen absorption. A lot of athletes like them because they help with energy, and they also help with your muscles rebuilding after doing a workout, which is really beneficial. You don't get a lot of that muscle fatigue. They're good for just overall energy. You don't get that like caffeine crash like you would from drinking coffee all the time. So they are even great as a coffee substitute, or we even will steep them with our coffee sometimes.
So Jen, how many varieties do you grow here?
We have about 30 varieties that we grow throughout the year. Our varieties change with the seasons, so we tried to range between 6 and 9 through a season.
Nice.
Yeah, so we can kind of change up the variety for everybody to try different mushrooms. We always have a couple different kinds of oyster. Those seem to be the favorites.
Yeah, I can see why.
So we are not currently open to the public in this location, but our retail customers can reach out to us, and they can also find our mushrooms through Fuller's Overlook Farm on their online market.
And of course, there are several restaurants that offer your mushrooms as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. We work with Peculiar Kitchen in Scranton and AV, as well as a few others. You can also find our mushrooms at Maximum Zen and Altar House in Clark Summit, and we go as far down as a cigar pub in Drums. So really, we're all over the place and continuing to work with other chefs, which is great. So you can reach us at thirdkingdommushrooms.com, and that's 3RD mushrooms.
Okay, very important.
And we are also on Instagram and Facebook.
And you have this here for us. Tell us about this.
So this is our homemade cream of mushroom soup. It's a wonderful base. You can use absolutely any mushroom in this soup. We actually started it with hen of the woods, which is a wild forage mushroom.
Nice.
And today I prepared it with our Black Pearl King mushrooms.
I can't wait to taste.
Yes.
Let's just give it a taste.
Awesome.
It looks so good.
Very rich and creamy.
Very rich. Oh my God! And the mushrooms are substantial too. They're nice.
Yes.
Delicious.
They have a very nice texture. Not chewy.
No, not at all. This is good stuff. Thank you so much,
are
Jen, for
so
having
welcome.
and to George as well. And cheers to you
Yes,
and Third
cheers.
Kingdom mushrooms.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.